What's up, guys? It's John here in plain sight, and I'm hoping and I believe this is going to be the most beneficial video to date, because this one, what I'm going to do is we're going to go and moving forward, we're going to pick games. I'm going to pick them out of my own sports betting account. And I want to preface this by saying I live in an area where this is legal, so just make sure you check the website that you use to make sure it's legal. Typically it is. You can find many of them that are USA friendly and friendly in your states. But anyway, what I'm going to do is, this is a system that I am going to be using because I found it years ago that some person was doing it. He essentially for 6 years backlogged his results from baseball series, and he would just use a variation of the Martingale system. And I'm going to go into the Martingale system if you're not familiar with that in a minute. But he would double up on games, and he had a very high net margin over the course of the several years he did this. And he put his live results from his baseball picks on, like, beforehand and after the fact, so you could see exactly what he was gaining. So we're going to do this live, where you're going to see we got 185 in here. I've accounted for 175 because that's what we're going to need to begin. And how this works is we're going to look for what we believe to be a game, and we can't just make this exclusive to the NFL only for the fact that there's not enough games. So since it's a system where I am going to be betting 25 on a team, let's say I did that in an NFL game, right? I put 25 on a team. Say I put 25 on the Bears to cover the spread. Well, if they don't, and then I'm going to go 50 on the next one. I'm very limited between like 4 games here. So that's why it doesn't work quite as well with just NFL. But when you throw in college, it works. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our first of the 3 legs. Just so you know, you can extend this. You can drop the minimum bet and do 4 straight. But to me, it's never got to that. So again, based off what I extrapolated from the sports betting forum and my own approach, I'm looking at these games, and there's 3 criteria that I like to be met. The first is the spread. If the spread jumps out a little bit, then it meets the criteria. For example, Georgia minus 45. Almost 99 times out of 100, even if it is the best team in the nation, when you see a team giving that many points, the average bettor, the casual gambler, is just going to pick the team getting 45 points and assume it's not a Madden-style blowout. Well, that happens 99 times out of 100, you're going to see Georgia's probably going to cover that spread. But they don't meet some of the other criteria that I like. The one right below that I love. It's actually the one I'm going to pick first, and we're going to do this one. So it's Iowa State at home versus Baylor. And the reason I like them is they're giving 2.5 at home, which is probably about right. So the spread doesn't jump out really flagrantly, but what does is again, the casual bettor is going to look at 17 ranked Baylor versus an unranked team, see that they're getting points. They're probably going to shave it up so they get 3 points instead of the 2.5. And in my opinion, they're going to lose. So to me, this is not as much a trap, but it's just a favorable line for Iowa State. So that's the first leg of the criterion. We have an unranked team that's an underdog against a ranked team. So I like Iowa State for that reason. I like the points. I feel like 2.5 is about right. It makes it whereas it's very unlikely to win the game and still lose the spread. Not that it can't happen. And you can also pick them outright, but we're not going to be doing that. And again, there's narratives. There's not as many narratives with college as there is with the NFL, but the narrative with Iowa State is they have a bruising run defense. So then you have to look, they have the over-under at 45, and if there's not much of a rushing attack, you can see the polarizing difference in the receiving cores. The Iowa State University has a big advantage there. And they're at home, especially on ESPN. They love showing teams, especially undefeated teams, that aren't ranked with very energetic followings do well. Again, this is all about marketability. So in the NFL, there's no team for Iowa, but in NCAA, Iowa is a highly marketable team. Not that Baylor isn't, but you have a lot of teams in Texas, whereas Iowa State is one of the top teams in the Midwest in general. So Iowa State, in my opinion, wins this game. So not to go off on a tangent there, but they meet all the criteria. And they meet the narrative, them increasing to 4-0 at home in a pretty close game, but I don't think within 2 points close, 2.5 points close, I think is very feasible. And I think the fact that they're unranked versus a ranked team and they're favorites is a little revealing. So we're going to simply go here, and we're going to pick Iowa State. And again, the first leg is going to be $25. So here it's actually 2, not 2.5. You can buy points, like I said, if you want, but then you're going to be diminishing your returns a little bit. And this is to win 25. So it's actually going to be a little more than 175. If it comes to the third one, it'd be closer to like 185, but either way. So we're betting 31 to win the 25, very little juice, and we're going to place our bet. So that is leg 1, okay? So now you can do this, and you can pick several different games, and let's say you lose 2 of them, then you double up on them in the next round. You can do that. But for now, we're just going to do one at a time. So that's the first one. So then we would look into the 4 o'clock game, 3:30. That game would still be going. And then the 4 o'clock games would be the second leg that we would. So while I expect us to win, and I would like to win, I almost want to lose so I can kind of show you how the system works, because this would be the second leg. We would be picking the 4 o'clock games, or we could wait and then pick a game on Sunday. But again, for the most profit, you do want to pick the most favorable games you can. Otherwise, you're making $25 a week, where you could be making $75 on a Saturday and then another $50 on the Sunday. So that's why to do this, you can't just do the NFL guaranteed picks. I will be continuing that, where I pick who I think is guaranteed to win no matter what, gun to head every week, just because I think a lot of them stand out. But in my opinion, this one will be more helpful because people can actually see in action. So we see we're at 153. We were at, obviously, 180, right around 184. So we'll say 185. We'll round up. We started at 185, and we'll just see day by day, week by week, where our count is, and you'll see it all live too. So the first pick of the official series of this variation of the Martingale is going to be Iowa State -2, which starts tomorrow at noon Eastern time. And I hope you guys keep following around, because we're going to keep this going all the way through the rest of the season. And I'm looking forward to the NBA season starting, because we're going to hit them all. So you guys take care, and I appreciate everyone that also is seeing a lot of peculiar things in sports.